Hi, this is the presentation of Team L for Team Assessed Exercise of Cybersecurity Forensics. To begin with is the first part, Overview and Challenges. Digital forensics is a way to help people find useful information during the digital investigation, and anti-forensics is the opposite way to it. Anti-forensics aims to destroy the integrity and availability of data collection by damaging the forensics work. Cybercriminals turn to using anti-forensics techniques to carry out a malicious network attack to gain illegally and unethically profits. The case happened in Arctan Company is a former employee who was a software engineer, exfiltrating sensitive data in order to gain profits on company stock movements by using an anti-forensic technique, which is through bitmap images, and we call this anti-forensics technique as steganography. The Arctan Company and its representing law firm A&A will face challenges to verify whether this former employee did exfiltrate sensitive data or not, as this anti-forensic technique is quite tricky. To use steganography, this former employee could choose general pictures as vessels, and then dividing blocks within the picture as informative region which could load data, and other blocks are noise-like region, which are redundancy. After particular software processed, it is hard to identify by human eyes, and it will take a long time for examiners to find evidence. Honestly, it is a huge workload, and there are certain chances that the examiners are failed to find any evidence. The next part is 4 key areas of anti-forensics. Data hiding is one of the ways of anti-forensics, and it has 2 common methods, which are the steganography and encryption. The steganography could conceal confidential information into an unnoticeable image to avoid detection. In most cases, secret data is exchanged via bitmap images, like the case happening in Arctan Company. With the help of particular algorithms, data could be hidden in bits representing the same color pixels repeated in a row in an image file. Another steganography method is watermark, which is an unidentifiable message hidden in media or other content files. It could be used to identify the media source. Encryption could prevent unauthorized access to stored data in the disk. Nowadays, software-based and hardware-based full disk encryption are widely used in this field. Trial obfuscation is a method for misleading a computer investigation, and it could make extracting the digital evidence more difficult. Commonly, this technique has 3 basic methods. The first one is altering metadata, like changing the date and timestamps. The second method is hiding the entries. Cyber attackers could delete or modify the system log to achieve this goal. The last method is aiming to obscure essential information required by the investigators, which could using third parties to act as proxies of the source data. Spoofing is a common way of trial obfuscation. It is in order to disguising communication for gaining unauthorized access to system or data. Spoofing often is performed through emails, so be careful when you're checking your emails. Artifact wiping is kind of like evidence destruction. It results evidence could hardly be found during the investigation. Technically, when people delete data, it's not really removes data from disk, but actually deallocating the data in the drive. And recovering those so-called deleted data is quite easy by using some softwares. Artifact wiping ensures that deleted data cannot be recovered permanently, no matter by any software or programs. In cybercrime, attackers could use commands like linuxdd to clean the drive, and investigators are hardly to find any evidence. Moreover, some attackers wipe the data in the drive by using degaussing, which is exposing the drive into a powerful magnet to erase all data. This is a way result completely deletion. Attacks against computer forensics tools are the new field of anti-forensics. During the digital investigation, examiners need to use various digital forensics tools to perform examinations, and this kind of anti-forensics technique are mainly targeted on the vulnerabilities of those tools. As we all know, after an investigation, a technical report will be produced, which tools be used, and what's the examination procedures. Those documents are faced to the public, of course, including cyber attackers, and then can find some loopholes. One of the applications in this field is affecting the integrity of the hash when examiners using forensics tools to create images of the disk. This newest type of anti-forensics technique is most threatening potentially. The third part is we argue that it's doable that exfiltrating data by bitmap images. From the perspective of anti-forensics, it is reasonable to suspect and question this former employee did exfiltrate the company's sensitive data in such way for his own purpose. There are three reasons why this action is doable. First one, the former employee used to work in the company, and he was at a very sensitive position as a software engineer. That means he has better understanding of the internal systems and has an insight of company's data. Those conditions can provide him many chances to implement his plan. As we mentioned before, the steganography is a very tricky anti-forensic technique. It is unstable by human eyes and quite difficult to be identified. It consumes examiners a large amount of time to discover evidence. Those characteristics of steganography ensures that exfiltrating action could be discreet and unnoticeable. The last reason why it is doable is the legal concerns during the investigation phase. The law firm has no rights to inspect digital devices like mobile phones, laptops, and removable drives of this former employee, unless they got the warrant issued by the court. Before that time, the data has already leaked and the impact to the company may potentially happen. This is why we argue that exfiltrating data by bitmap images is doable. The last part is we argue that this case solved by Octane Company is viable. As we discussed, it is possible that this former employee can reveal data by his position as a software engineer and benefit from company stock movements, which harm the company's development, even the reputation. His exfiltration act also harmed the environment of the media. No one knows the picture he or she downloaded whether contains sensitive data or not. If those pictures indeed contain sensitive data, it could potentially bring lawsuit to the people who viewed it. Based on that consideration, the Octane Company could file a lawsuit to charge this former employee, and he could use Data Protection Act to defend himself. But the law firm could request the court to issue warrants with authority conferred by the Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act to investigate this case. The Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act is a law that governing the use of covert technique by public authorities, and it ensures that when public authorities need to obtain information about someone in a legitimate way. With the help of laws, we argue this case is viable. This is the video presentation for team-assessed exercise of cybersecurity forensics. Thank you from Team L.